I hate people. St. John the Philosopher here. If I had to guess, I think I've said that phrase at least 100 times in the last year alone. But in that last year, I've spent hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars trying to do good for these people I supposedly dislike so much. They say there's a thin line between love and hate. I think I may have found it. The information age has brought us access to the sum of human knowledge that we can carry around in our pocket, for better or worse. We tend to squander that resource on unsavory entertainment and cute cat videos. What was I saying? Social media and the 24-hour news cycle have become a conduit to unending examples of just how horrible humans can be. Oh sure, there are those viral stories about people rescuing animals or actually being nice to disabled people that restore our faith in humanity. But the only reason these stories are remarkable is because they're rare. And the only reason they restore our faith in humanity is because of the previous 10,000 different ways that faith has been crushed. Pro tip, don't put your faith in people. In Christian theology, we understand that the heart of mankind is inclined towards evil. Whether you're a believer or not, the truth of the matter is undeniably evident. It was famed journalist Malcolm Muggeridge that once said, "The depravity of man is at once the most empirically verifiable reality, but at the same time the most intellectually resisted fact." By some estimates of humanity's 3,400 years of recorded history, there's only been a total of 268 years without war between the major civilizations total. But that doesn't even count tribal conflicts, battles between national factions, civil unrest, terrorism, and the general cruelty of our past. While we managed to find ways to band together in prehistory in a march towards civilization, each one of those bands also managed to be quite uncivil towards each other. As humanity developed new ways to organize ourselves, build safer shelters, and cultivate food, we were also inventing more efficient methods of maiming and killing each other. We bickered over land, access to water, political control, and cultural influence in an unending quest for dominance. Much hay has been made of late about the European imperialism of the 13th through the 19th centuries. But from the Babylonians and the Assyrians, to the Persians and the Egyptians, to the Chinese dynasties and the Muslim caliphates, it's really just the latest in the long line of nations seeking to control the globe, every single one built on the bodies of dead men, women, and children. Every nation on earth has had slavery. Every people group has at one time maintained legalized brutality against lower classes. History is awash with sanctioned theft, rape, and murder all over the globe for thousands of years. There is no collection of humanity in any bygone era that can claim innocence. But let's not forget the little things. The small ways that we as individuals show our true colors in this more civilized time. Smaller in scale, yes, but out of the same depraved hearts. We lie, cheat, and steal from each other on the regular like it's no big deal. We curse each other's existence and make untenable demands on each other's behavior. We're an ungrateful, uncaring lot exclusively concerned with our own personal pleasure and aggrandizement.
You. Yes, me. Me too.
Self-absorbed to the point of self-delusion, self-centered way beyond the points of narcissism, self-assured in our personal greatness despite all evidence to the contrary. We are lovers of things and users of people rather than the other way around. Drunk on our perceived place in the world and silently drowning in the reality of our unimportance. So is there any wonder why I hate people? But not long ago, during my prayer time when I do a considerable amount of reflection, I think I figured it out. I think I came to understand why I hate people. It's because I love people. Bear with me. You see, Christians are called not only to love good people, but to love our enemies as well. That notion had for a long time seemed like God was asking the impossible. For my family and close friends, I'm the guy that always wants to help, showing love through acts of service.
As you wish.
That day, she was amazed to discover that when he was saying, as you wish, what he meant was, I love you.
I give gifts and try to do so in abundance as best I can. I give hugs and kisses readily and say the I love yous as often as it strikes me, which is kind of a lot.
You little pun'em there.
To be truthful. All of this comes out of the overflow of affection I have for these people. So what exactly is God asking of me? To love my enemies. It sounds like some weird attempt to manipulate my emotions. How can I love someone who's set against me? Do I send flowers to the girl that broke my heart? Dole out the bro hugs for that guy at work that runs me down to my boss? Or maybe post bail for the criminals that broke into my house intent on robbing me and violating my wife? None of those are real things, by the way. It's just examples. I realized the mistake wasn't God's for asking me to do the impossible. It was mine for not understanding love in the first place.
I love carpet. I love desk.
Brick, are you just looking at things in the office and saying that you love them?
I love lamp.
Do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it?
I love lamp. I love lamp.
I'd fallen into the trap of believing that love was some uncontrollable emotion that simply overcame people like a magic spell. Our culture talks about falling in love like it's some sort of unavoidable accident. But God told us what love is. He showed us. One of the greatest examples of this I found in the Bible isn't the obvious one, but happened a little before that. At the Last Supper, when Jesus was gathered with his disciples for the Passover meal, he humbled himself by washing the feet of each and every one of them. He was doing this, he'd explained, as an example for us, to show that our job in this world, as his followers, is to serve others. You see, feet washing was the lowest job in any household. Roads in that day were rarely more than dirt paths strewn with animal filth.
Hey, this is shit. It's Get it off me, Frost! Get it off!
Most people went barefoot or wore simple sandals, meaning that even someone who was freshly bathed would rarely arrive somewhere without some nasty, dung-caked feet. So Jesus took to washing their feet, knowing that every one of them would abandon him at his arrest. He did so knowing that one would outright betray him. Think about that for a minute. Jesus washed the feet of Judas. It was important to show that the master was willing to serve his disciples so that his disciples understood they were to serve the world and get dirty while doing it if need be. Jesus did this even for the one that would send him to a bloody, torturous death. So there's the lesson. Love isn't about a feeling of overwhelming affection. Love is desiring the highest good of another and taking action to accomplish it.
Say that again.
Love is desiring the highest good of another and taking action to accomplish it. So let's go back. I don't actually hate people. When I see humanity's inhumane behavior towards each other and say the ill-conceived phrase, I hate people, what I really mean is that I hate the injustice and suffering people bring upon each other and themselves. And I think the same can be said about most decent people, whether they follow Christ or not. People with a working conscience tend to have a natural aversion to injustice, even if they're prone to their own brand of unloving behavior. So I'm pretty sure this applies to you as well. In my innermost being, I wish the highest good for all mankind, that they would understand the great universal truths that can bind us together and bring us into true fellowship with one another.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me.
Seriously though, I hope for each person to find their place in the world and be filled with the joy of knowing their purpose. I wish for them to make the decisions in their own lives that will lead them into that fullness of being and away from the consequences of choosing the wrong path. In the Christian way of thinking, when I say I hate people, I actually mean I hate what sin does to people. So what now? That's what I asked myself anyway when I came to this realization. Now that I know that I actually don't hate people, but just the ignorance and error they exhibit in their lives and inflict upon the lives of others, what do I do with that? Well, something else Jesus said comes to mind. That we're to do to others what we'd have them do to us. Loving our neighbors as ourselves. That's where this channel comes in. You see, in my many instances of error in my life, those times when I was ignorant or unthinking or illogical, I look back and wish someone was there to help me, to remind me of the things my parents had instilled in me, or reorient me back to truth rather than my own desires. So that's what I'm going to try and do, and hopefully you can help me. Ultimately, this channel may amount to little more than me shouting into the vast chasm of competing ideologies and sensationalism that is the internet these days, but it's something. That's all for today. This is St. John the Philosopher. Goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you in another video.